Hello everyone. So we are going to start with the new topic, that is conditional statements and loops. So in this, what you're going to study is if else statement, switch statement, while loop, do while loop, for loop, jump statements. In that, we'll study about break statements, continue statements, and go to statements. We'll go each one by one. Then I'll be explaining you the theory. Then I'll take examples in the compiler. So let's move in. So first is conditional statements. Conditional statements basically helps you to make decision based on certain conditions. So there are a few conditional statements are there: if statement, if else statements, and if else ladder also there. So when lots of statements are there we use else if statement. We'll see that with examples also. And switch statement is also used for these conditional statements. When lots of if else comes, then we can replace that with switch statement also. Similar kind of task can be done with switch statement. In this, these conditions specified by a set of decision making statements having Boolean expression. What does Boolean expression means? Either it will be true or false. That is what Boolean expression is. So whenever we say if statement will run when the statement is true, otherwise it will run in the else statement. What I mean by this, I'll get you as we go further in the video. So this I already talked. Boolean expressions are evaluated by Boolean value true or false. Now moving towards if statement. An if statement consists of a Boolean expression which is evaluated to a Boolean value. What does this mean is, whenever we write any if statement in our C++ code, there what we have to do is we will write a statement and we'll find if that condition is true or not. If it is true, then only that code block will be executed, otherwise it will skip to the next code block. If the value is true, the code block is executed, otherwise we move to the next statement. Okay, what is the flow chart of that for the if statement? So here, this orange box you're seeing, this is where the code basically starts, and here the code ends. When we start the code, we'll write the basic template, whatever the header files we write using name std, and inside the main function we're going to write if condition. I'll show you the syntax how to write if condition. Then when we write the condition, if that condition is true, then only the next code block will be executed. If it is false, then it will come by this line and it will go to here and it will end the statement. This is basically, this is end. This is ending of statement. This is starting of the if statement. If it is true, then the code block, the logic, whatever logic is there, that will be running, and we'll be going forward with that. We'll see all these examples one by one. Okay. Another statement is there, that is if else statement. When I say if, the else come with it. Either it is going to be true or it's going to be false. It means only using if statement is not going to be the ideal case every time. So we'll use if with else. Else is that part of the code is executed which is false, it means it is just handling the code. Either if it is true things will be executed in the if, and false statements will be executed in the else statement. When the expression in an if statement is evaluated to be true, if block is executed, otherwise else box would be executed. If I say if and else statements flowchart, then you can see here that if condition is written, if it is true, then this code block will be running. If it is false, then else block will be running and ending of the statement will be done. So you see here we give the condition. I'll show you how to write the syntax of the if else condition, and whenever we go to the VS Code, there I'll be showing you those things. Moving towards next. Now we can have multiple statements. It is not necessary that only two conditions will be there, right? So test a series of conditions with the help of multiple if-else statements. If there are lots of conditions are there we use if-else statement, and that is also called as ladder. It looks like a ladder. This is first block, second block, third block, fourth block. So you see, this is forming a ladder type of thing. The statement which meets the result would be executed. So whichever statement we want to execute, that will be executed. Suppose we want something that is not getting, condition is not getting satisfied here, so that maybe get satisfied here or somewhere here. So that's why if else statements are there. So it means lots of conditions when in a code there we use if else statements. And what is the keyword for that? Else if we use, and for else if we write the condition. But there is no condition for else block. You can see there is no condition for else block. Whenever we write this in this rhombus form, it means it is a condition, and whenever we write in rectangle block, it means it's a information is there, statements are there that is going to be executed, right? So that is what we're going to see when we see in the compiler, how the syntax is written for all these three different things we saw: if statement, if else, and if else if statements. When no condition meets the results, the default else condition will be executed. That is, I already told. If nothing is condition satisfied for any block of code, then what will be going is else block will going to be executed. Now from here, I'm going to jump to the VS Code, and there we're going to see the examples. So let's go to the VS Code. So I already created a folder that is condition statements and loops. There I'll create a file and name it as if else.cpp. I'll write only if.cpp. So this is going to see only the if statement. How does if statement work? What is the syntax of if statement? That is we're going to see right now. Suppose we want to check our program. What you're going to write is print number whether that is positive or not. Suppose this is the program we want to write. So what I have to do, I have to write the again same thing we do, the basic template, hash include IOStream using namespace std, and inside the main function we're going to write int. We'll write the return type of the main function, that is integer and main. And what we're going to write in the scope is the if statement. Before writing the if statement, I have to declare a variable. Suppose I am declaring a variable that in which we're going to store the value, and we want to check that value is positive or not. Suppose int num I am giving. This means what? Declaring variable and variable name is what? Num. Now I'm going to say that like we're going to take input from the user. So what I have to write? I'm going to write cout, enter the number, and I'll give handle statement here. Okay, all right, done. Now we're going to take input from the user, that give some input that is going to take whatever number. I'm not initializing here in the 7th line. I'm taking input from the user. So let's take the input. What input is going to be? How we take input? we write cin, and I'll give, what is the variable we have take? Num, cin num, right? After that, what are we going to do is we're going to write the if statement. Now we will see the what is the syntax of that. We write if is a keyword that we write, and we're going to write num is greater than 0. We know that whichever number is greater than 0, that's a positive number. So this is the condition. This is the condition. Num greater than 0 is the condition. So that is what we are writing. And if is the keyword, we write this way, and in open bracket, in the round bracket, we give condition that num is greater than 0. And inside the scope, within the parenthesis, we're going to print out if that is correct. If that is correct, I'll be writing cout, and within the quote, I'll be writing entered number is positive. Alright, then I'll give end else statement here again. So this is, before giving end else statement, I have to print that also, right? So I'll be giving num is the variable, and that will be printed accordingly. So I have written num and endl, and at the last, what I said, it's an integer type, so I have to return some value. So if you don't write also, that will return 0 automatically, but I'll give return 0 at the last. Now here is the dot button is coming, I have to save it. I'll give command Ctrl S on the keyboard. Now it's saved. Now if I run, click on right click and then click on run. It is asking me for the input, enter the number, so I'll give input 78, and we know 78 is a positive number because it is greater than 0. What is the condition? That number should be greater than 0. So if I enter, so what the result is coming? Entered number is positive, and that is 78. Let's run again. I'll clear this thing, so I'll write clear, so it will clear the thing again. Then I'll click run again, run the code. Let's check for another number. Let's check 1000. So it is a positive number, so it is giving positive number. Again, let's run this code again and give some negative value to it. Let's see what happens. If I give -19, see, it is not executing anything. It means we haven't covered that thing. We only written that if number is positive, then that will be printed. This minus number is not covered. So that will be covering in the next demo of code, that is if else statement. There I'll show you. Thank you for this. Now we'll go and take another example, that is if else statement. This is already done. So I'll create another file and I'll name it as if else.cpp and I'll hit enter. Now here again we'll try to write a program that whether number is positive or negative. So what is our program? Write a program to check whether number is positive or negative. Let's see how to do it. Again, same thing we're going to do. We're going to write the header file #include iostream. Then using namespace std, I'm going to write. Then inside we have to write one main function, and main function of integer type, and write int main and round bracket. This is the how we create function. Then after that, within the parenthesis, we're going to write the things. Now again, you have to declare a variable. So I'll declare a variable int num. So I declared a variable of num num, that is variable name is num, and we're going to store integer in that. Now I'll take a cout statement. There what I'll do is I'll say enter the number. All right, and I'll give this end statement here. So I'll give end statement here also, endl. All right, now what I have to do is I have to take input from the user as we already did there. So cin num. So we take an input from the user. Now here we have to write if else statement. If number what we are taking from the user is greater than 0, that means that is positive. Otherwise, in else statement that will be negative. It means Boolean statement, right? Either it's going to be positive or it's going to be negative. So what I'll be writing, basic syntax is this. We write the if keyword and in the brackets we give the condition. What is the condition? Num greater than 0. This is what the condition is. And inside the parenthesis, when this code is executed, what do we write? Cout entered number is positive. Entered number is positive. All right, and what is that number? Num, and we'll give endl statement here. All right, so this is for the if statement done in this scope. In the else statement, what are you going to write is else. What are you going to write? What are you going to print? Cout entered number is negative. And what is that number? That number is num. In num variable that is stored, right? I'll write endl statement here also. Endl means it is going to the next line. And at the last of the else statement, I'm going to write return 0. Because it's of integer type, so it should return something, that is returning 0. It means the code is going to execute it successfully. That this statement means that. Okay, you see the syntax. We write if keyword, then in the bracket we give the condition. Whatever the condition is, our condition is num greater than 0. Suppose I enter num as 5, so 5 is greater than 0. So if condition will execute because this is true, 5 is greater than 0. So it will getting printed out. Entered number is positive and that is 5. Suppose I take minus 3. Minus 3 is greater than 0. This is false statement. So this will not be executed. This will be skipped, and in the else part that will be giving you the output. Now it's giving white dot button. It means it is not saved. I'll enter command. I'll give command in the keyboard Control S, and it is now gone. Now I'll right click and click on run code. Now it is running. It is saying the enter the number. So let me put number as 78. Let me put the number as 78 here. Let me click here, 78. Entered number is positive. I'll clear once. I'll clear everything once so it will look better. I again run the code. Now if I entered minus 12 here, if I enter minus 12 here, entered number is negative. You see the output, entered number is negative. So our code is running completely fine. Okay, let's take another input. Suppose let me enter 89. Let me enter 89 here and enter. So this is the positive number. One thing is like positive and negative numbers are covered, but did we cover 0 as the number? 0 is, if you know, 0 is neither a positive number nor a negative number. When I give zeros, then see what will happen. Let's see. If I run the code again and here I give value as 0. Entered number is negative. It is going to the negative. that 0 is not greater than 0, it means it's a negative number. This is wrong, right? So we need to cover this thing also. So we'll covering this thing in the next if else if statement. So we're going to see this thing in there. For this video, this is the end of the code. Thank you. So now we're going to see next example, that is nested if else statement. So I'll create one more file again. So that is, I'll be writing as nested if else, nested if else dot cpp. Let's hit enter. So this is our program is nested if else. What does nested if else statement means? Inside if we'll write another if else statement. So we'll see some kind of stuffs right now. We already saw if else, how to write if else, what is the syntax. Now we'll be writing inside if condition, we'll write another if else statement. Okay. So for that, again we'll write the template of it, that will write the header file hash include iostream using namespace std, and I'll give space here. Then after that I'll create a main function, that is also called driver code. Also we also say driver code. Main function I'm creating, and within this scope everything will be there. So I'll create a variable that is int marks. So it'll be covering taking marks of a student and try to see how nested if else is going on, right? So I declared a variable marks where I am going to store the marks of the students, and in the next statement I'll be writing cout and will say enter the marks, enter the marks, and I'll give endl here. All right, now I'll take input from the user, that our variable marks, what are you going to store there? So cin marks. After that, what I'm going to write is if else statement, right? If this is the basic template, right? If else, and we write this way. Now what we'll do is I'll go and write the condition here for this if someone get marks greater than 30, then I'll say greater than or equals to 30, greater than equals to 30, then I'll print out, for printing out I'll be using cout, and here what I'll be writing, you are passed. If someone is getting greater than 30, so we'll say you are passed. Okay, like you got the passing marks. So I have to take it out here, Control X, and I have to enter inside this. So cout marks. So I'll say you are passed. All right. Then I'll give endl statement here. Okay, great. Now, what if that person is getting marks greater than 80 also? So what I'll be doing is, inside this if statement, I'll be writing another if else. So here I'll give another condition. If someone is getting greater than marks 30, but he's getting greater than 80 also. So we'll say you got, or 90, we'll say that what? Your marks are excellent. So if I say marks is greater than equals to 90, then what we'll say? You are excellent. So I'll be printing out one statement, and I'll say excellent job, and I'll use endl statement here. All right. Or else part, what will say? It's good. So marks is between, if someone is getting marks between 30 and 90, what will say? It's good. Marks are good, right? So in the else statement, what I'll be writing, Cout statement I'll be taking, and I'll say good. All right. So this is if else statement I'm writing inside the another if. So this is done. And if someone is greater than marks greater than 30, if someone is greater marks getting less than 30, it means he's what? It means he's failed. So I'll be printing out Cout statement and I'll be giving you are failed. And here I'll give end else statement, means ending of the line. So here what we did, this if else is the bigger if else. Inside this if statement, we took another if statement, right? If someone is getting marks 30, so it will print you are passed. Only this statement will be passed. If someone is getting 98, it means it is greater than 30 and it is greater than 90 also. It means you are passed. An excellent job will also be printed. If someone is getting marks between 30 to 90, it means what? He is getting good marks. Otherwise, if someone is getting less than 30, that is going to be covered in the else statement. Now I'll save this code, Control S, and I'll run this code. Okay, I'll clear once. It is lots of. Okay, I'll just make it bigger. All right. So it's saying enter the marks. Suppose I enter marks less than 30. So let's see, it should print you are failed. So let me print 20. You are failed. I'll clear all things. I'll use word clear. So it will clear all things. Now I'll take it below this compiler. Then what I'll be writing, I'll again run the code and it is saying enter the marks. Suppose I am entering 95 and let's hit enter. You are passed. Excellent job. So this, if it is marks is 98, it means it is greater than 30, it is greater than 90 also. So these two are getting printed. So this is what nested if else statement. All right, I'll clear it again. If I enter marks that is between 30 and 90, suppose I enter marks as 70. So it is printing you are passed. You are passed, because this statement will always be executed, because at 70 it belongs to this if. This statement is not executed, so good will also be printed. So you see you are passed and good are printed. So this is what nested if else statement. So this is how you can practice. You can practice lots of questions. Thank you for this part.